Africa that I talk about is the post-colonial Africa. The Africa which is now divided into 55 countries with 55 boundaries imposed on her. An Africa which is famous as the cradle of mankind. An Africa which is said to be great in prospect. An Africa about which there is much expectation, but an Africa which continues to punch below her weight. That is the Africa that I will be talking about as I focus on the question of leadership and followership. As I think about that Africa and her leadership and followership, and I think about her often, as all of us should.
Should ECOWAS invade Niger? Hello and welcome. Welcome to VFH. Today our topic is going to be about the recent coup that took place in Niger. Again, should ECOWAS invade Niger? ECOWAS stands for Economic Community of West African States, and is regional organization consisting of 50 member countries. The primary objective of ECOWAS is to promote economic integration, political stability, and cooperation among its members. However, even though ECOWAS promotes political stability, does it have a moral obligation to intervene militarily in Niger? We will address this question later. So, before we proceed, I would like to make my opinion clear about military coup that's happening in other parts of the world. I do not support any form of military coup that causes harm to innocent civilians. I'm against any coup that might inflict great harm on civilians. Now, let us examine the recent military coup that took place in Niger. Niger is a country rich in minerals, including uranium, but yet about 40% of its citizens live in extreme poverty. Why is this? One of the main reasons could be poor governance. If the government of a country is not doing enough to alleviate poverty, or if it allows other countries to exploit its natural resources without working for the benefits of its citizens, then people of that country have a right to demonstrate against their governments. So if Niger is rich in natural resources and the people not benefiting from the country's natural wealth, who is? Niger supplies a significant amount of uranium to European Union, with a large portion going to France. The biggest uranium mining companies in Niger is owned by the French, while only about 36% is owned by the Nigerian government. Therefore, France is the main beneficiary of Niger's uranium, not the people of Niger. You might have a lingering question in your head about what uranium is. Uranium is a silver white metallic substance. In short, it is a heavy metal. There are three naturally occurring uranium isotopes: uranium-238, uranium-234, and uranium-235. Uranium was first discovered in 1789 by Martin Kalproth, a German chemist. However, its radioactivity wasn't discovered until 1896 by Henri Becquerel, a French engineer and chemist. I'm not going to provide deep details about uranium, but in short, uranium-235 is used to fuel nuclear power plants and to create atomic bombs like the ones that was used by United in World War II against Japan. The bombs were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, claiming the lives of thousands of innocent civilians. The United States is the only country to have used atomic weapons against civilians. Returning to the question of who benefits the most from Niger's uranium, the answer should be clear by now. That is France. It is France. France relies on Niger's uranium to power it is our nuclear energy production. However, I want to clarify that Niger is not the only country that supplies uranium to France. There are other countries that also supply uranium to France. Countries like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan supply collectively 46% of uranium to France. According to recent analysis, nuclear power plants in France generate approximately 361 billion kilowatt hours of electricity. In 2021, nuclear power generation accounting for 68% of country's annual electricity generation. It is likely that this percentage has increased to 70% by now. France holds the highest share of nuclear power generation in the world. However, the question arises is this fair for the people of Niger, where 40% of the population live in extreme poverty? Niger have endured enough of the situation in their country. They desire change that will improve the lives of millions of Nigerians. I'll be back shortly after this video. Thank you.
You see, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. We're going to demand that you deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Minister of Finance. Under the French Central Bank, under the control of the French Minister of Finance. France is then going to take your 85% bank deposits from each and every one of you. Deposit those funds in the French stock market under the French name. And you may or may not know the returns.
Hello and welcome back. So the question is, does ECOWAS Economic Community of West African States have a moral obligation to invade Niger? The answer is no. Let the people of Niger decide for themselves. Only they truly understand the extent of their living conditions. It would be a grave mistake for ECOWAS to proceed with its plan to invade Niger. Military intervention can lead to a significant regional destabilization and spillover of violence into neighboring countries, which is not what Africans want. The only war in Africa should be against poverty and corruption, the main culprits that are hindering African progress. Conventional warfare is costly, involving the loss of precious human lives and incurring unimaginable economic costs. Therefore, war is not a viable option for ECOWAS. ECOWAS should reconsider its poorly assessed plan. Military intervention in Niger should not be an option, even if well intended. Even if it is on the best interest of ECOWAS, it can have unintended consequences, both economically and in terms of human lives. Apart from military intervention, ECOWAS has a wide range of tools at its disposal to address the challenge in their region, including diplomatic negotiations, economic sanctions, and regional peacekeeping missions. Among these options, diplomacy is the highly recommended. Given Niger's current economic situation, economic sanction is not an option. Any option that might harm the citizen of Niger should not be considered at all. Nigerians have a valid reason for wanting to remove their presidents from the power. Recently, thousands of Nigerians rallied in support of coup leaders, including that the majority of Nigerians are pro-coup. The people of Niger are fed up with their former government and have the right to seek an alternative system of governance that will improve the lives of Nigerians. Therefore, ECOWAS has no moral obligation to invade Niger to restore so-called democracy. The people of Niger should determine their own future. Now, let us discuss economic sanctions. As I mentioned earlier, ECOWAS has an alternative way to resolve issues in Niger apart from military intervention. Economic sanction is not an option, considering the fact that majority of people of Niger live in poverty. Economic sanctions will cause more pain to the people of Niger, and that is morally wrong to consider the fact that 40% of Nigerians live in extreme poverty. And for regional stability, economic growth and diplomacy remains the best solution. Democracy represents the collective voice of many, since the majority of the Nigerians have expressed their desire for change. That means democracy has spoken. Therefore, ECOWAS has no moral authority or obligation to impose sanctions nor to intervene militarily in Niger. We need to build Africa that is free of war, Africa that is united, Africa that speaks with one voice. May God bless Africa. Thank you for watching and see you.
We have come here again to reiterate our opposition to the presence of French military bases in Niger. We are asking the French ambassador to leave our country with all of its military bases. We don't need them. We don't want them anymore. Remove them from our country. We are also saying shame to ECOWAS, shame to their heads of states who do not care about the unhappiness of their people when they allow their population to be exterminated to profit foreign interests.